Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning, listeners out there. This is another edition of Inside Nigeria, Friday morning, August 27. And of course, I am with my regular co-host, Winifred Ogebo.
Good morning, viewers out there, and welcome to Inside Nigeria on this Friday morning.
Yeah, we have our guest today appearing here for the first time, an Abuja-based public affairs analyst and a veteran journalist, Mr. Farouk Adejo Audu. Mr. Farouk?
Yes, good morning.
Welcome to Leadership Podcast Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
All right. And of course, listeners, as usual, we are starting with Nigeria's first Friday newspaper, the Leadership Friday. On the front page of Leadership this morning, after 89 days in bandits' den, Islamia pupils regain freedom. After 89 days in bandits' den, Niger Islamia pupils regain freedom. Parents meet pupils in Kaduna community. Search continues for abducted army major. Troops kill 43 terrorists, capture commander. President Muhammadu Buhari orders deployment of 100 special forces in Zamfara. Catholic bishops, Northern Christian elders suggest way forward out of this security lockdown. Mr. Adejo.
Yes, sir.
What's your take?
Very interesting. Well, the first thing is that we have to actually celebrate the fact that this the days of horror for these children is over. We have to celebrate that. But we must pause to reflect. You know, there are things that when you think of it, it can only be in the realm of imagination. But gradually it's becoming the norm in our country. That is very heartbreaking. That when you send kids to school, almost everybody now, if you have from like North Central to Northeast to Northwest, if you have your child in boarding school or even in any school at all, your mind will never be at rest. Every day we try to put ourselves in the shoes of these parents and every other, the loved ones of these children, innocent children. When you talk of innocence, you are talking of children. And at the end of the day, these are the people that are subjected to the horrors, to the traumas of banditry. And, well, the writer in the story said, there's a particular one that interests me about, said continues for abducted army major.
Yes, the Kaduna NDA attack.
The truth is this. The NDA attack is gradually, before you know, maybe in a few days, it goes into whatever, and people will not be talking about it anymore.
Nothing might come.
We on to new things.
Yes,
Possibly something worse, and we pray not. But the truth of the matter is that there's nothing that can happen anymore. That is the way it is. That bandits have remained so unchallenged. I'm not saying our government is not doing anything, but whatever they are doing is just not good enough. To the point that they have, gotten the courage, the effrontery, the temerity to attack a military fortress. That is the place we train our officers. The elite, the elite corps of the military. That's where we train them. We now have bandits who are so courageous. The truth of the matter is that when people actually graduate, when you have conquered something, a particular stage, you look for the next stage. They conquered schools, they conquered churches, they conquered mosques. They conquered farms. Farmers don't go to farms in the Northwest anymore. In Zamfara, in Katsina, in Sokoto, Kaduna, Benue. Farmers don't go to farm anymore. So these people are emboldened and they want to conquer the next thing. Now they have conquered the NDA. So where next? At least they breached the NDA. They may not have conquered the NDA, but to enter the Nigerian Defense Academy, kill 2 officers and abduct 1, and leave unchallenged. There's no report of any bandits sustaining any injury in the course of that operation. So definitely after this, they will look for new things to conquer. And that's really sad. That's really sad. I was reading a piece by our very senior colleague, one of the spokesperson to the president.
Okay, Mr. Femi Additional. I was going to ask you about that.
I was talking about people hating government. Why would people hate the government? If a spokesman of the president is admitting that Nigerians hate the government, then of course. In
fact, there is a portion where he describes some Nigerians as ungrateful and forgetful.
Yes.
Saying we have forgotten where we're coming from.
Yeah.
And we are trying to say because of this NDA attack, the military has been humiliated.
Well, what I was saying was that if you go to the level of admitting that the citizens hate the government, something is wrong, fundamentally wrong. Citizens are not supposed to hate the government. This government is not a junta. They didn't shoot their way to power. People elected them. An election that was so free that the sitting president was dislodged, and he didn't challenge the election. He accepted it and congratulated the winner. So if the same citizens who elected this government to office are now said to hate the same government, so what went wrong? I think they should be asking themselves these questions. But the truth is that people are no longer secured. People are hungry. There's no security anywhere. North, east, west, and south. We're talking of northwest. If you go to northeast, of course, that one is already, what do you call it? It's already an institutionalized matter, insecurity in the northeast. You go to north central, what do you have? Herdsmen attacks. I'm from the north central. I try as much as possible to see if at all this, what do you call it? This narrative of farmer herdsmen clashes. But that is something that I can also talk about. But the truth of the matter is I don't think there are really farmers herdsmen clashes. What happens is that farmers are on their farms. Herdsmen come over on the farms.
So it's not a case of true fighting.
No, it's not.
It's a case of aggression.
It's a case of aggression. It's a case of aggression. There's no state. There's hardly any state in the North Central that several people have not been killed in the last 6 years.
Yes.
Is it Kogi? Is it Benue? Is it Nasarawa? Is it Niger? Maybe Kwara. I've not heard much about Kwara and FCT, but apart from that, almost every other state. Plateau. Then you now go to the north, southeast. Of course, there have been clashes with herdsmen. But major security challenge in the southeast is the indigenous peoples of IPOP or Biafra. That's major security challenge.
Yes, sir.
Well, you cannot justify anything that has the semblance of terrorism.
All right, sir. Okay. We need to talk about small economy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But sorry, before we move to national economy, I just want to ask our guest analyst here, talking about the interrogation or interview of a Chinese journalist who interviewed the Autumn and Mr. Kule, the global security expert. So what do you think the impact it will have on the media now, press freedom?
The truth of the matter is this. I like to cite the American example. And Trump was a dictator. Total dictator. He's too busy with himself. He does not believe any other human being exists or knows anything about himself. He does not take kindly to criticism. He attacks even if he's a child. He attacks very viciously. But Donald Trump was relentlessly attacked by all the American media, except for Fox and a few other extreme right media. And yet, we know that Donald Trump would have loved to overrun the American media. But even then, he couldn't do it. A lot of times, he expelled the correspondent of CNN from the White House and all that. And the court said, you can't do it. They went back there. What am I saying? America is a democracy. Now, compared to what is happening, is Nigeria a democracy? For every report that is considered negative, the NBC that is considered negative on what do you call it of the government on TV, the NBC sends letters to media houses, breathing down the neck of all the media houses, and they sit down and cite sections of their codes. And you see, freedom of information is total. How do you expect that the anchors of channels, somebody like Chamberlain, Soro, and all those people, how do you expect that they know what a man is going to say? You're asking me questions.
I don't know what we
except you gave me a prepared script for me to answer from, and you instruct me to answer from, and that will not be freedom of information.
I think what the NBC actually said was that there was no caution on the part of the anchors.
What caution?
How will you caution?
It's simple. The freedom of opinion means people can talk, they can abuse, they can even call for war. Now, what do we say? We say that your freedom ends where another person will start.
Yes.
And there's a limit to everything. If a guest there, commits sedition, what we call sedition, that is inciting violence and all that.
We have a law that
there's a law that addresses it. Why don't you haul him in and take him before the courts and say, look, he went on channels and is inciting violence. But I didn't even see anything about inciting violence in those interviews to tell you the truth of the matter. Otom was just burying his frustrations. I've tried this, I've tried that. The governor, a chief executive officer of a state, the chief security officer of a state, said, and they have not been able to dispute anything he has said. Not one of the issues has been disputed by them. He said that lots of time when these bandits are coming to attack his people, he will cry out here. He will call the DSS. He will call the police. Nothing will happen. They will come and attack and go. And all you think about is the forum where they went to see it. What do they prefer? Otom should have organized his own army.
The presidency also used the same forum to get back at the government.
Yes.
The senior special assistant, Malam Gabashir, was
he was giving this that, and was saying everything about Otom. He was just attacking the president of Otom, not talking about the issues. And there was one thing that he said that was very instructive. He wrote it and he went on channels and also said it, that they are waiting for the next election so that they can put a friendly governor. I don't understand. Does Garbashi will vote in Benue State? How does he intend to do that?
This government is manipulating election in states.
It's an admission that the elections are not free and fair. That you can sit down here and hope that you can put the person you want
in another place.
It's an admission. It's an admission that you're monkeying with the elections.
Anyway, Mr. Farouk, there's a sharing news on the front page of our sister publication.
Yes, National Economy. Thank you so much, Bode, for navigating to paper review. And the National Economy has on its cover today, Nigeria's second quarter GDP growth signposts resetting critical economic sectors. Nigeria's second quarter GDP growth signposts reciting critical economic sectors. And on this rider, we have government should tackle insecurity, structural bottlenecks to agri, industrial, other sectors. That's from experts.
Mr. Farouk, this is the first sharing news from the economy
actually,
since 2015.
Actually, very sharing news.
Exactly, since 2015.
Sharing news. I'm sad to say that it's on paper. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If you are saying there is growth, okay, no problem. I don't know how this economy is. I don't know how they generate.
In fact, it's even a call to action that is a need. That is calling for a need to reset critical sectors of the economy, like the ICT
I don't know
and
how,
agriculture.
I don't know how they generate their statistics. But most of the time, when they say there is growth in the economy, it's difficult to see it on ground. The price of everything, every single thing, particularly food items, is going up. The price of everything, the price of garri, the price of beans, the price of rice, the price of pepper, the price of anything. Before COVID or around the time of COVID, we were buying a kilo of beef in most places, at least in Abuja, for 1,000 naira. Gradually shifted to 1,000, 1,005. Now it's between 2,000 and 2,005. There is no increment in salaries anywhere. There's no increment in income anywhere. Yet the economy is growing. In the northwest, where a lot of what do you call it, the food we consume come from, people don't go to farm. Nobody goes to farm anymore. In Zamfara, in Katsina, in Sokoto, even around Kano and most of those places in Kaduna State, a lot of people don't go to farm. Almost the entire Kaduna State. It's either Kaduna South or Kaduna North. If you go to farm in Kaduna North, bandits will come for you. In Kaduna South, there is sectarian crisis going on. In Benue, there's no farming. There are more IDPs than farmers in Benue today. So I don't know, maybe if there is growth, I don't know if it's international trade. Maybe we are making more money from oil. I don't know where the growth is coming from, but I'm not competent to challenge the statistics of economics because I'm not one. I'm even a near illiterate in economic matters. But what I'm saying is, we do not see it on ground. We don't.
All right, quickly on the front page of the top paper on our menu this morning, The Guardian, and of course on the front page of The Guardian this morning, surprise, economy gains highest quarterly growth since 2015. It's the same story we just discussed.
Exactly the
on
same
the
story.
front page of national economy. And Guardian is expressing surprise that the economy is gaining the highest quarterly growth since 2015.
Exactly.
So that's why we started as a challenge.
That's what I'm saying.
And of course,
that you editorialize on the headline. There's what we call editorializing.
Exactly.
You understand? The headline you're supposed to report, but if you are saying surprise is an opinion, isn't it? You understand? If the Guardian goes to the extent of putting surprise, it means that even those statistics are difficult to swallow by even their own experts. Not in statistics that you can easily swallow.
All right.
Okay. From the Guardian newspaper, we are moving to the Punch newspaper. And Punch has on his headline today, on his cover, troubles ahead, experts warn as debt servicing gobs 91% of revenue. Troubles ahead, experts warn as debt servicing gobs 91% of revenue. On the right there, we have revenue records 1.07 trillion shortfall. Government can't sustain rising debts, economists. We're in serious trouble. Government will borrow more, say Utomi. Others. Troubles ahead, experts warn as debt servicing gobs 91% of revenue. This is on Punch newspaper.
Mr. Adejo, despite the sharing news by the two previous newspapers, the Punch is looking at a different direction. That we have troubles ahead because we're using 91% of our revenue to service our debt, not debt repayment, but debt servicing.
That is vintage Punch. Vintage Punch. Actually, this is extremely scary. Very, very, very scary. It shows that right now, the point we are that we're complaining, that we're actually in El Dorado. We're in El Dorado. If our income, 91% of our income is going into servicing, so how much will it take to repay the
main debt? And even Where do we get money for capital
Where will the money
development?
come from?
Overhead
And
costs.
as we go, and unfortunately, this government has been engaging
Borrowing.
in indiscriminate borrowing. China, everywhere, run on debts. Now, if you need to borrow to survive, then something is wrong with your management acumen. They say there's this thing about cutting your coat according to your size and cutting your coat according to your clothes and all that and all that. It means that if your clothes is not enough, to produce a coat, then you don't sew coat. That's sew a working jacket. That's what it means. So if we do not have the revenue and we just keep borrowing and borrow to pay salary, borrow to do this, borrow to do that, and yet there are productions going on, they have not told us, at least we are selling oil. Yeah, there could be some dislocation in the market and all that. But Nigeria, our ministry is oil and we're selling. Now,
sorry if I'm cutting. We had the minister telling us sometime back that there's no problem about borrowing, that the issue is not about borrowing. That Nigeria has the facility, the wherewithal to borrow more if need be.
Okay, now if you borrow and you now use 91% of your total income to service,
that's not sustainable.
That has not reduced the debt. That has not reduced the debt.
You're only paying interest and the rest of it.
You are paying interest. Let's say they gave you 100 billion and at 21% interest. Then what it means is that if you are using 90%, it means that your total income will be about 19 billion. 19 billion.
For the interest. So the capital debt or the main debt is there.
Do you understand? Maybe then you are now using part of your own income to go and pour there, and the 100 billion remains. So for as long as it remains, our income will be going into the place and be borrowing more. Then of course we'll get into this what do you call it? This is the debt trap, which you cannot come out of. It now means that after this government, because you see, let's face it, the truth of the matter was that Nigeria's debt was very low at the time this government got it. At a point, the government of Obasanjo practically repaid all the debt we were owing. And subsequent governments tried as much as possible to minimize and keep a balance. Now we came and we are borrowing with abandon. And where is the result of what are the things we're using? Is the infrastructure? Yes, the rail. The major rail that has been completed was completed before this government came in, or at least more than 90% completed before this government came in. Is the infrastructure? Where is the infrastructure? What are we borrowing to do? Are we borrowing to prosecute the war on terrorism or the war on banditry? What are we borrowing for? That is what I don't understand.
All right.
And it's really disheartening, because what it means is that at the time of our children, when our children will get to the age, Nigeria will become practically an impossible place to exist.
And we hope the managers of the economy will come out to allay the fears of Nigerians about this
the truth is
mountain debt.
The truth is what we lack a lot is patriotism. I don't think all our experts are incompetent. Now, patriotism in the sense that who are the people that are given the task of managing the economy? They will be the most competent people. What informs the choice of the people?
Is there even synergy between monetary and fiscal policies and the rest of them?
You understand? So at the end of the day, you put people that are unable to manage. Everybody is pulling here and the other people are pulling there. And what do you get? It's really, really disheartening. We all hope that it gets better.
Many thanks to you, Mr. Farouk Adejo Audu, Abuja-based journalist, veteran journalist, and public affairs analyst.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for creating time to join us on the
Thank you
leadership
for having
podcast.
me, sir. Thank you.
Well, we go on a short break. When we come back, we shall be looking into another matter, the spate of insecurity and the way out. And we shall be joined by Major Banjo Daniel, retired, and Comrade Awal Aliyu. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Inside Nigeria this morning. And joining us to discuss the spate of insecurity and the way out is a Major Banjo Daniel retired, a public and private security analyst and trainer. Good morning, Major Banjo retired.
Good
Morning,
morning.
my brother. Thanks for having me, madam.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
sir.
It's our pleasure you are joining us on our show Inside Nigeria at the Leadership Podcast Studio this morning.
My pleasure too. Thank you.
All right, Major Banjo is speaking to us from his base in Lagos. First of all, let me ask you, what is your assessment of the nation's security situation as we speak?
Uh, Simply put, I'll say things are getting worse. They are getting worse than it ever has been. As at January, February, we thought things were improving. Throughout last year, we gathered that things improved. The year before, the same thing until early this year, when Mr. President listened to the cry, especially of the people of the National Assembly, that the service chiefs must be changed. And the moment they were changed, things got worse. And it has been getting worse ever since then. Between you and me, I am very disappointed in everything. The military I went through is not what we have, what I think we have now. Everything I'm saying here is my personal opinion. I mean, the deductions from my appreciation of the security situations in the country and full analysis of what I gathered from intelligence people and what I hear in the news. So things are getting worse per day. I hope that we whatever is holding back the military in performing these duties, the log jam or impasse will be unjammed and things will get better. That's
All
my
right.
personal opinion.
So, how did we get here? How did we get here?
That is one question. If it's about security, I'll say things got worse, like I said earlier, when the service chiefs were changed. But I've had that question many times from even my seniors in the military, from my friends, from my family members. Everyone will go and say, the situation is so bad. How did we get here? How did we get here? We just didn't get here. Crime just didn't start today. It didn't start last year. It started far back since the creation of the world. And as regards Nigeria, the things really got worse since after the Civil War. It is man's intent to survive and tries as much as possible. If he cannot, then he seeks any which way he can do that. So that was what led people to come after the Civil War, started stealing locally, and then they evolved into armed robbers. I have to take examples from some criminals that have been caught. I'll use Mr. Evans as an example. When he was making his initial statement, he came up to tell us how he started as a thief. He grew up to become an armed robber, and then he realized that with the technology improvement in the country, development in the country, people were not keeping money at home again. Armed robbers go home with arms, they scare you, threaten you, and you give all your belongings or whatever money you've ever saved up. But with the advent of technology, where we don't have to keep money at home again, you have your ATM. The thieves also realized that there were no money at home, so they evolved into fraud, and that was what led basically into Yahoo boyism and crime and cyber crime. So from there, they realized that development also came. Online transactions became uneasy, very uneasy for them. Although it's still been done, they were able to, through a lot of phishing, a lot of methods, still succeed in carrying out this cybercrime. It's getting uneasy for them, And then with the realization of the sources of the Niger Deltans kidnapping scheme those days, many Nigerians with criminal intent saw that, yes, those guys were successful in their kidnapping activities. So they also took to it. And that was probably what led Evans in evolving from armed robbery to kidnapping. He said it. I read it. I wasn't there. So he evolved from armed robbery to kidnapping. And kidnapping, every other person saw how lucrative it is. Even people who probably do not even intend to get involved in such criminal activities went into it. An example is there is one about local ballet at Shangisha, somewhere around the Lagos area, in 7-Up K2 area. The local ballet organized with his brother that he should be kidnapped, and then they sought money from the Lagos state. Eventually, they were caught. So that is how bad it is, that you can fake your kidnapping. You want money. Our sought, our continuous seeking for wealth is what led us here. Ever since after the Civil War, every one of us, no, is involved in these things. Every one of us, our morals are decayed completely. Our women, and I'm not sorry in saying this, our women also have moved out, neglecting their major godly given responsibility of taking care of the children at home. They move out to seek for wealth. You see them everywhere. They are the best entrepreneurs. They are the best marketers and things like that. So no one takes care of the children at home. We send them to, what do we call it? Crèche, right from birth. We send them to boarding houses and they went to universities and they do whatever. The parental, the teachings that God expects of us to them is no more there. So these children just grew up anyhow. And these are the people we have in the country now. Every one of us. We are all guilty for this. It's not just it. It's not just stealing, armed robbery, kidnapping, insurgency. They are people's children. The people involved are people's children. The people involved are people's children. Sunday Igboho is someone's child. Gani is the thug of one politician who turns to kidnapping, being someone's child. And all these people have children out there. What do we expect out of them? If I have to write a paper on it, Nigeria is going to get worse unless something is done. So it started long time. We have been evolving to this stage. It just didn't start now. It is not PMB. It isn't Jonathan. It isn't Obasanjo. We've been there. Yes, it might have been not their irresponsibility exactly, but as leaders, they were responsible for how we got here. And as fathers and mothers, parents, we are responsible for how we got here. So it has evolved up to here. We got here because we have deliberately refused to follow the godly way, allowing our children to do whatever they are. And they have also turned into being parents now, and the whole thing is upside down. That's how we got here.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, we want you to throw more light on this, that things got worse with the change of service chiefs.
Okay, yes. I'm going to be factual here, and I found out a few things. The service chiefs that were there before 2015, we have about 26 or close, I'm not very sure, between 26 and 40 local governments in the Northeast that were under the insurgents. I remember the governor of Borno State at that time. He came on here, and that was one time I saw, the second time I saw a governor crying after Madueke or something, one other governor, civilian governor before. The governor came on here and shed tears that the only locality in Borno State that time was Maiduguri that was under his control. He was not in charge of any other place in Borno State. They were all under Boko Haram insurgents. Adamawa, Taraba, and a few other places like that had local governments under them, and their flags were flying. That was before 2015, when the past service chiefs came into power, and Mr. President gave them instructions. I want Nigeria back. And they didn't look back. They went into it, and they got Nigeria back within 6 months. People still feel like they know, and I told you, whoever cared to ask me, we got Nigeria back. And these men were there. And they continued up till December 2020. Even before then, about a couple of years before then, the noise was so much. But I praise Mr. President for standing firm and not listening to them. But until around January this year, he bowed and changed his service chief. As of January this year, things were a little bit better. In fact, far better than what it was in 2015. Far, far better. Nigeria had gotten the whole of Nigerian landed area back, although the insurgents were still at the fringe, the border towns of Lake Chad. If you know the history of that Lake Chad, you know that there is practically nothing we can do. It contains over 10, 12 kind of nationalities from all over Africa and even the Middle East. They are based there, so it wouldn't have been easy for any person to just go into that Lake Chad zone, Lake Chad basin and areas surrounding it and states in Chad, Cameroon, Nigeria, and said you're going to burn all of them out. So it wasn't easy. So that was where the remnants of the VH team were residing. Other than that, they have been cleared out of Nigeria. Up till that was January, I guess, January, February, when this service chiefs were changed. The noise was so much, Mr. President, about them and it changed. Before then.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Conclude your thoughts, sir.
Okay. So when they were changed and another new service chief came in, I thought I knew that service chief. What was his name again? The one before Frank now, Farouk. The one that had an accident. There was an air crash that died in the accident. He came on board. I knew him. He was far back, a junior to the General Buratai. So I thought, yes, they were going to perform. And they were actually going to perform until he had that plane crash. And now Farouk had come in. He has not even settled down, things are just getting worse. Right from after those men, Buratai, Guy Bass, Sodiq, and Gaulan Shakin, who was the CDS. After them, things started getting worse. I can't reach Mr. President, the CNC. I don't have the jurisdiction powers to do that. But I think he tried when he gave instruction to them that he wanted Nigeria back in 6 months. Now these guys are here. I am not doubting their capacity, but I think that the professionals are gone. I am saying that because as at our time, and as at the time of those last service chiefs that I mentioned, they were all professionals. They were professional military personnel. We call them regulars. And those that came after them are also called regulars, but they were more of academicians. They went there to study BSc. Those that left studied military tactics, strategies, and that was why they were able to be successful at that time. I am saying this. And I continue saying it until these present service chiefs prove to me that they are professionals. And I hope they're going to do that. Thank you.
All right, Major, I need you to stay with us. I will come back to you.
Thank you.
Okay. We are being joined by Dr. Awal Aliyu. Okay, Dr. Awal is not here. All right, Major Obanjo, let me continue with you. Now, given your experience in the armed forces and now out of service, what do you think is the way out of this security situation, which has appeared to be intractable over time?
You're not very clear as before, but I want to believe you said you're asking me the way out of this imbroglio we found ourselves, this insecurity.
Exactly.
If that is, yeah, I have posited before now that what we need to do is to expand our army and probably form more armies. We should have an army that will be guiding the forest. We should have an army that should be guiding our borders. You can call them border guards. You can call those other ones forest guards. You can call the mountain area ones mountainous forces. All these people. It could be the police. It doesn't have to be army. It could be the police. Get them, train them on their specifics. And, I was trained as a special forces operator commander. although we didn't practice that much when we were in service. And we still have them. We still have special forces duly trained during General Buratai's time. So, what we need to do is to re-strategize. I'm not saying planning now, is to formulate strategies, sit down and make policies regarding the expansion of the military itself. We can have two armies. One will be probably the internal security army, the other one will be what they are now. But areas, all Nigerian landed area must be protected. You can't say they are in the forest and that's it and we let it go. No. The forested areas are part of the country. And it is the responsibility of the police to protect Nigeria and Nigerians. The army fights insurgents and most times internal security. So if we just continue between you and I, my brother, I am appalled. I am surprised that things like this have gotten to this level because I know the military we have. And in fact, used to know the policemen we have, especially the MOPO, the Mobile Police Force. When I was in service, we trained together at times, and I know that they are capable. So why it is this bad is what is surprising me. What is the strength of the insurgents? What is the strength of these bandits? 5 million? No, they can't be more than 100,000 anywhere. And trained and retrained within 2-3 weeks, maximum a month. We train special forces detachments. We train MOPO crack forces. And I'm telling you, 11 of them, a detachment of MOPO, fully trained, will penetrate the bandits' location, and whether they are 300 or 500, they'll just burn them down. They can do it. We have done it. So why all these things is what perplexes me. And I will continue to wonder, is this politics? Politics? What here? Nigerians are dying, cutting Nigerians' throat. I wish it happens to members of the people in the government. Yes, I wish the bandits will invade members of the people in the government and burn their children and families and kill them. Then maybe they rethink. Nigerian masses, they just go into a village and kill people. Poor people who knows nothing. It's disheartening, saddening. Too bad. And I am saying we can. I'm surprised it's getting to this stage. It cannot. It shouldn't in my country where we have a military. I went through that training at soldiers and officers level. I know policemen who are capable of doing these things, and they should. They are capable. So what's holding them back? Something is amiss between you and I. Something is seriously amiss. I don't know. No.
Major, finally, the current Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Lucky Irabo, has been going around the country to engage with retired military personnel on the way out of this security long jump. So I want to know, is there a particular rank he's talking to, or all retired military personnel like you, so that they can actually tap into some of your wisdom?
Yeah. I have not been opportune to meet Irabo. I know Irabo. Irabo is about the last of the professionals. And like I said earlier, professionals Irabo should be capable, and that's why I'm surprised. I know he's capable. He has been taught whatever any military officer knows, he knows, except for some of us that have been trained in special operations. He has been everything. Irabo has gone everywhere, commanded formations, commanded national, international task forces. He has worked at the HQ. He knows everything. But I mean, no one is an island, so he might require some insights into some areas. I've not been opportunity to meet him. Maybe I'll find a way through someone and see if he can listen to me. And I'm sure there are other people who are probably more better than in knowledge than myself who has listened to. So still the same thing I'm talking about. Still what perplexes me is why is he not doing what should be done? I expect him to do that, to know what to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Major.
All right, we've been talking to Major Banjo Daniel, a retired major of the Nigerian Army, a public and private security expert and a trainer. Many thanks to you, Major Banjo Daniel, for speaking with us from Lagos.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We hope to see more of you on this show, Inside Nigeria. Well, we've been talking to Major Banjo Daniel, and he has provided a lot of insight
Very,
into
very
the
insightful.
spate of insecurity and the way out.
Yes, and as the CDS Rabo is going around, I think from people like experienced people like Major Banjo, you could also tap into their wealth of
But that's why I asked
He has
whether
so many
there is
things
a
to
particular
say.
rank is meeting,
Yes.
because he is a retired major,
Major.
maybe he is meeting generals and the rest of them. But there are other people who have a lot to offer.
Things. And he talked about having maybe majors to army officers to stand, guard borders, guard forests. I mean, that is also a good one.
We don't have that, and this is what we can copy from America: the border guards, the marine,
Police
all
guard,
manners of
forest guard,
specialized
because
guards.
because most of these bandits,
To
they
bolster our
retire,
security.
they come from the forest and they come from the borders too. So they are very, very strategic. If we are really, really sincere about fighting insurgency.
That is another issue. If we are really, really sincere to overcome this challenge. Many
Yes.
thanks to Farouk Adejo Audu, who joined us earlier for the newspaper review segment, and Major Banjo Daniel, retired, who spoke to us live from Lagos. Winifred, this is time to go.
Yes. Thank you so much for keeping faith with us. We are so glad that, yes, you are following us on Inside Nigeria.
For the whole week.
Yes, for the whole week.
And this is the last edition for the week.
Yes. So Monday, see you Monday, and have a beautiful weekend.
All right. My name's Bodi Gbadebo. Bye for now.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.